Day number 4. Okay, I'm gonna start where I left off. I'm gonna put that brake switch in. It's pretty cold outside today. It's raining. Nice rainy day. So I don't know how much I'm gonna get done, but I'm gonna chug through it and see what I can get done today. All right, here we go. Let's get it going. Okay, got that brake switch in. I am going to drill a little hole right there in that bracket to hold this buzzer, and then once this is all done, I'll be able to install it, or at least put it in hanging there until I figure out all the wiring on what goes where, because I still got to figure out the brake light, engine light, high, left, right. So I got to figure out what wires are those, and that just comes off the steering column, so except for the brake light. So we'll get that set up now. Alright, so they got some metal mounting brackets for the Alpine unit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Home Depot, get some kind of metal sheet, lift it up with some washers, maybe just a hair, and then I'll install this on top of it. That way all my wiring's in one place, and that'll fit really nicely in the back of there for now. Like I said, when I get ready to rewire everything, I want this actually in behind the seat. Make it look much cleaner. And it's really small. I mean that's a screwdriver. So very, very tiny. So we got plenty of room. Alright, so I'm gonna go to Home Depot, see what I can find for brackets. Alright, I found this piece here in the lumber section, so it's perfect size, no cutting or anything. I do have to drill some different holes to make it work, but that's the perfect length. And then I got some nuts and everything. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a nut in between here and then a nut on top. That way it gives it just that little bit of spacing. You'll see in the next clip here. Alright, let's do it. Let's drill some holes, get this all mounted up. Okay, you'll see I put the nut there, and so then when I place that on top of that, it's going to give me a little bit of space in between. So that's what's going to happen there. Got it. I'm just off just by a little bit, so I got to just ream it out just a hair to get it to fit. But that's what I'm going to do. Alright, just kind of a mock-up. Show you that gives it just a little bit of space in between. That way I'm able to get a nut underneath here to stick up and mount. So that's what we got to do now. Okay, all said and done. So you can see how that turned out. And then later on, if I have to upgrade, put some more of the crossovers and stuff, I can get some more of these brackets and stack. And then I can use these as an anchor point somewhere in there once I get to it. But for now, I'm just going to let it sit until I get all the wiring and test everything. Okay, so this is the fuel pump sender. So this is the wire that goes in. The pink wire is the input, brown is ground. This one up here is power on constantly, and then this one right here is ignition. So I can use those 3 connectors to set everything up. So I'm going to put spades in there and go from there. A thing to note, these cars are really bad for grounding. So I'm running a wire down there all the way down to here. This will be grounded back into the system because I want perfect grounding, and then from this point I'll attach to the units and everything from there. That way I know I got a good secure ground, because they are notorious for not having good grounding. So that's another thing to think about, just in case. All right, here's the test fit. Fits quite nice in there. Actually doesn't move at all. That's not even bolted down. So now I just need to run all the wires to it and go from there. Okay, it's all wired up except for the turn signals and stuff like that. I wanted to see if all the gauges work. The fuel gauge is not working. It's beeping at me, yelling at me that it's fuel open on the gauge there. So I'm gonna have to figure out what's wrong there. Maybe the wiring, maybe it's not good enough ground, or something. I'm gonna have to see what's up with that. Maybe contact Dakota Digital and see what they say. But from there, everything else works. The head unit and everything works just fine. So that's what I'm going to be waiting on. So I think this will probably be the end for today, unless I find out more info on what's going on with the fuel line. Then I'll get back to it. But I think this might be the end for today. All right, thanks. Okay, so I called the Dakota Digital, asked them what would probably going on. It's not enough voltage from the fuel line, or the fuel line, the sending unit. So they said to try and ground out the gas tank first. So that's so that's what I'm going to try and do, is ground the gas tank a little bit better, or the sending unit. Try that first, and if not, see if I'm getting enough voltage from there to my wiring. So that's our next step.